Hi, my name is Cullen and I'm from the third year of M.Arch program, and this is my project from the family portrait. Drama is the diagram, our advanced topic studio with Jimenez Lai. This studio explored single-family homes, reflecting upon family drama. And we as student generated organizational diagrams that reflected the health of the family and wrote archetypal arcs, and represented the narratives with storyboards of the house. The house of the studio was sited just outside the coastal village Cambria, CA, and let's get into my family portrait. This is the house of Tug of War. There once was a mother and her twin sons who lived in a house on the Cambria coastline. Tragically, the mother passed away, but not before leaving her possessions to her sons. Her living trust stated that the twins should use all of her money to build themselves a new home. The twins had a lifelong rivalry and were always competing with one another, thus, they agreed to let decisions over spatial divisions in the new house be decided over tactical games, a form of competition they both excel at. The twins used their inheritance to turn the original single-family house into a duplex. While they tried their best to split everything 50-50, there were multiple rounds of negotiation, and ultimately this resulted in a game of tug of war inside the house. The design process started by analyzing the house's existing timber frame structure. By dividing the house into 64 cubes, each twin gets a total of 32 cubes of space. On the first attempt, each twin only received 2 facades of the house. Cyan was not very satisfied with their space compared to that of Magenta. On the second attempt, the twin received equal real estate on each side of the house, to resolve the issues of the first attempt, yet this time Magenta was unsatisfied with the results. He wanted the two houses to have more differences between them. Finally, to resolve this final issue, Magenta rotated his house 13 degrees, successfully creating 2 distinct volumes within the same body. The central conflict of this project is that the twins are seeking different identities even within identical bodies. Their differences are often masked by physical similarities. Once they settled on the basic design principles, they hired an architect to further develop the house. The battle over the design can be understood from various perspectives: the elevations, the plans, and the interior organization. First, the east elevation. The east side of the house faces the street. Cyan uses aluminum panels, while Magenta opts for bricks as an exterior finishing material. The clean 50:50 separation on this side of the house expresses the duplexness of the house. However, if you look carefully, Cyan's house is slightly larger than Magenta's house, which intentionally casts a shadow on the Magenta side. This subtle deception, preventing one brother's house from receiving sunlight, is one way in which the rivalry plays out. Second, the north elevation. The twins enter from opposite sides of the house. Compared to Cyan, Magenta occupies more area on the north elevation. The colliding windows and the distorted rooflines further illustrate the traces of the design battle. Next, the south elevation. Cyan successfully receives more space on the south side of the house. In retaliation, or maybe it's a budget issue, Magenta uses cheaper bricks on this side, driving down Cyan's south facade curb appeal. Finally, the west elevation. Both brothers want the same amount of space on the west side with ample windows because the side faces the ocean. Next, we'll move on to the second spatial tug of war. The planned strategies. Each twin receives 3 stories of the house with the same area on the ground floor. Cyan's vision for a large connected living room on the first floor impedes detract from Magenta's space. His living rooms are isolated on opposite sides of the house. To rectify this, Magenta gains more space on the second floor. On the second floor, kitchens and dining rooms are located. Magenta's original 13-degree rotation is an important strategic move to remember at this point because through these plans we can understand its true purpose of carving up Cyan's space and creating obstacles wherever possible. With equal space on the first floor, and Magenta receiving more space on the second floor, It's only fair that Cyan occupies more square footage on the third floor. On the third floor, where the balcony, roof garden, and bedrooms are located, in which the roof garden is the only place where spatially connected, and the results of having more exterior spaces are needed to take a detour to the balcony before going to the bedroom. These sections show how the twins sabotage each other through elevational obstructions and misalignments. Cyan's rooms are connected via continuous circulation. On the contrary, Magenta needs to take detours to get to his rooms. The continuous redlining by each brother underscores the lengths to which each goes to interfere with the other's space. The four following chunks articulate this game of interference in greater detail. The first chunk shows Cyan's bedroom and Magenta's hallway. Cyan has the best ocean view from his wonky bedroom. Due to the layout of these two spaces, Magenta is forced to look through Cyan's room if he wants to look out the window and see the ocean. Magenta finished his hallway with very low-quality materials, to distract from and hopefully ruin Cyan's ideal bedroom views. The second chunk shows the boys' kitchens and dining rooms. While Cyan's kitchen space and dining space are both visually and physically connected, elevational differences make them not very user-friendly. Also, the window from his brother's rooms are meant to use it as surveillance, but the partition gets in the way. In Magenta's case, the kitchen and dining rooms are not on the same floor, which makes setting the table and bringing food to the table a difficult task. Next, we'll look at Cyan's recording studio and Magenta's bedroom. The result of protrusion from other room makes the 5 feet wide workstation hard to use. The confrontation is transmitting the noises to disturb the sleeping quality of his brother. The interior gets its identity by reflecting each twin's tricks. Finally, we'll check out the roof garden. This area is the only place where the twin spaces intersect. The two houses are spatially connected, but subtle landscaping decisions mark the demilitarized zone. But look closely at the plants and you'll see the shadow war being waged. Overall, there is very little subtlety in their scheming. Their tricks to outwit each other are committed in plain sight. Yet this dot house is not just about sabotage, it also tells the story of a unique cooperation between twins attempting to share the same territory. Throughout this rivalry play, the pair of duplexes ultimately explore the dynamics of architectural intersection and collage to reflect the relationship between the twin brothers. While the design process involved so many negotiations between the boys, the battle between twins will never be over. Throughout the studio, we learned how to depict the narrative and therefore turning the architecture, in this case a single-family house, into a medium to paint the family portrait. Designing architecture from a story was not a familiar subject for us. However, this challenge allows us to think and reflect on the personal characteristics of the homeowners but also learned rather than an obstacle to work around. Became the driving narrative that generated the diagram of the architecture. Thank you. Thank you.